Visit Bob's Tank Warehouse and pick up the keys to your very own heavily armored, high-velocity, armor-piercing slice of independence. All of our fighting vehicles come with a range of mod cons. Rapid-fire automatic cannon, jump and caterpillar tracks, steel armor plating, 500 sheet power engine, air conditioning, CD player, drive away in style in one of our new or used armored killing machines. Finance options are available. Visit Bob's today. Bob's Tank Warehouse in association with Worms WMD.
Air conditioned CD player do not come standard. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey guys, welcome to the guide. In this episode, we are talking about Europeans and their false sense of superiority because they think they are the best race on planet Earth. And I'm trying to keep my tongue under control because YouTube is owned by Google, which is apparently ran by a whole bunch of liberals that are afraid of their own shadows. I don't know. But it's cool for PewDiePie. How do you pronounce it? Is it PewDiePie or PewDiePie? But it's cool for that dude to say the N-word and get away with it. Like, there's some double standards, right? I mean, I live in America and on planet Earth, and if I go walking around saying the N-word, I'm gonna say it to the wrong black person sooner or later, and that guy's gonna be like, Whitey said what? And Whitey's gonna get the ever-living crap kicked out of him, and we'll come home with a couple black eyes. Hopefully, if I'm lucky, nothing will be broken, but probably there would be some broken bones in there if Whitey said the N-word to the wrong black guy in America. So you're lucky you live in Europe, PewDiePie, because you're lucky you live in a place where like maybe 1% of the population is black and they are treated with tokenism, so they're fine with it. But if you go around in America saying that, oh, there's some broken bones and black eyes coming. Alright, so let's get on with the episode. Alright, so Europeans and their false sense of superiority. Okay, so Exhibit A is the continent of Europe. I mean, it's not even a continent, it's a piece of a continent, but they think that they want to make you think that it's a continent when it's really not a continent, it's just a piece of a continent, a much bigger continent. But, anyways, Europeans have had 2,000 years, or like little less than 2,000 years to get their crap together and figure out their stuff since the fall of the Roman Empire. Like seriously, the Roman Empire fell pretty much 2,000 years ago, and Europe still hasn't been able to figure out its own crap. I mean, they've been fighting with each other for 2,000 years, since the fall of the Roman Empire for 2,000 years. Yeah, if you want to get technical with it, technically the Byzantine Empire didn't fall until like 500 years ago, but the Byzantines weren't really Romans. They were just the leftovers of Romans. They were technically, what, the Eastern Empire of Rome when they split Rome up into two pieces, but pretty much once they split Rome up into two pieces, that was officially the end of the Roman Empire, and then it was just the West Empire and the East Empire. And the East Empire was mostly Greek because the Romans had a thing with the Greeks. It was pretty weird. But still, like, since the fall of the Roman Empire, Europeans have been fighting each other ever since. They've never been able to come together and figure their crap out. Like, what sort of culture do you have when you have 2,000 years to figure your crap out and you can't even figure it out in 2,000 years? Second, you got the British. And, like, the British think they are the smartest people on planet Earth. They really do. They think they don't even consider themselves as part of Europe. They're like, we have our own little island, and we are a very special people on our own little island, even though we've been inbreeding for thousands of years. I mean, you know what the first sign of inbreeding is? Their teeth, your teeth, alright?
Am I boring you, soldier?
What's like the first joke that comes to your mind when you think of British people? Their teeth. You know why? Because they've been inbreeding for thousands of years. That's why their teeth are so bad. There's a whole bunch of cousins in Britain. They're all cousins. Okay, they're all related to each other. They're inbred. That's why their teeth are bad. And while we're on the British, like, do you know what the most screwed up empire in the history of the planet is? The British Empire. They killed more people than the Roman Empire. They killed more people than the Nazis did. They killed more people than the Soviets did. Granted, they had more time to kill more people than the Nazis and Soviets did. But, by history, worst empire in the world, empire responsible for the most deaths in the world, it's the British. And to add upon that, do you know where the British got all their money to fund their empire? A, from the slave trade. The British are the ones that figured out how to industrialize the slave trade by taking slaves to Africa and bringing them over to America. Yeah, sure, the Portuguese were the ones that figured it out first, but the British were the ones who figured out how to industrialize it and mass market it and like make it a seriously huge problem. And then us Americans over here, well, we weren't complaining at the time, but that's shame on us. I'm not gonna, sit here and lie, but that's shame on us. But who was the empire responsible for the slave trade? That was the British Empire. Also, do you know who the biggest drug dealers were in the 1800s? The British Empire. What they would do is they would grow the drugs in India, opium. They were the biggest opium dealers in the 1800s, which made them the biggest drug dealers in the world in the 1800s. But they would grow the opium in India, and then they would ship it up to China.
Quickly!
The British fought 2 wars called the Opium Wars with the Chinese
Oh no.
just to get the rights to sell opium in China. So yeah. They were like the Colombia of the 1800s. That's where the British got most of their money from, was the slave trade
Shoot it
and
like
the
a meter.
opium trade. That ranks pretty high on like the most screwed up empires of all time, right? Like, how'd you make your money in British Empire? Oh, through slavery and through drug dealing.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. You guys are amazing British. And while we're on Britain, let's talk about the Brexit, which I think is the dumbest thing that Britain could have done at this point in time. Why? Because it just ignites Europe's favorite pastime. And what's Europe's favorite pastime? Fighting each other. Europeans love nothing more than to fight each other. That's like Europe's history since the fall of the Roman Empire in a nutshell. If you want to know Europe's history in a nutshell, that's it. They just love to fight each other. That's what they do, is they fight each other. Pretty much what happens is when one country becomes too successful and too powerful, then all the other European countries band together to take out that country, to put it back in its place.
Leave me
And
alone.
then once another country starts becoming too successful and too powerful, then they do it again. All the countries band back together, including the country that just got put back into its place, to take out the new country that's too powerful and too successful. And it just keeps going on forever. That's what Europeans love to do. They love to band together to take out the big
You
guy,
disgrace my beloved
and then once
Marine
another big guy shows up, then they band together again, including the guy that just got taken out to take out the new big guy. That's Europeans' history in a nutshell, right there. That's what they do. That's what they love to do. They just love to
You
fight
will
each other.
salute me, soldier.
And Europeans love to look down their noses at us Americans. They do. And you know why? Because they think you're inferior. Americans, Europeans think you are inferior. They don't see you as equals. They see you as the rejects who couldn't make it in your mother country, your father country, your homeland, whatever you want to call it. So you had to get on a boat and go across the sea. They view you as the losers of their society. Your ancestors were the losers, so they had to go to America to start a new life. So they view us as inferior to them. They don't view us as equal. But guess what? With that new continent that we went and kind of stole, yeah, we made that continent awesome. It is the world's only superpower currently. For how much longer? I don't know. Maybe like 10 or 20 more years. But currently, it's the world's only superpower. So we made that continent awesome
not your friend,
while
son.
we watched
Understand?
your country, continents slip into decline because you can't stop fighting each other. You guys did the world's you guys have had the world's biggest wars. The world's largest wars with the most death kills, the most death tolls have been in Europe. And it's been a European problem, and it's been started by European countries.
Go
World
away.
War I, Europe. World War II, Europe. The 7 Years
Yes,
War,
sir.
Europe. Every single major war that has happened, that's had millions of people die in it, Europe. Because you guys can't stop fighting each other, and you want to think you're better than me? Hey, no, not happening. I mean, Americans is the one that shows up and saves Europe all the time. Russia's definitely the one that shows up and saves Europe all the time. I mean, who saved Europe from Napoleon? Russia. Who saved Europe from Hitler? Russia. I mean, yeah, the British and the Americans kind of helped during World War II, but like, if you go by death toll of who did the most work during World War II, that's definitely the Russians did the most work during World War II. They don't get the credit they deserve for what they did in World War II in the West, but like, Russia saved your butt in World War II, Europe, and Russia saved your butt against Napoleon, Europe. So you guys should be a little more thankful of Russia, because they save your butt quite a bit. And lastly, I'm going to finish this by just talking about the name Europe. If you take Europe apart, what do you get? You get European. European. Yeah, that's your name, Europe, is European. European, dudes. European. European. Alright, thanks for watching.